CTV News confirming tomorrow's federal budget will include financial assistance for lower-income Canadians struggling with the rising cost of food. So with more on tomorrow's fiscal blueprint and perhaps what's at stake, let's bring in John Capobianco, political strategist and Senior Vice President at Fleischman Hillard High Road. John, always appreciate the time. Let's start right here with what we do know. This, help for lower-income Canadians when it comes to their grocery bills. Cost of living is such a significant factor. How much more do you think we may hear from the government on that?
Well, we'll obviously find out tomorrow, Nick, but I suspect that given the fact that the minister has been able to at least give some indication over the course of the last little while that she is going to give some relief to lower income Canadians, I think is a good sign. Obviously, we've seen a number of provincial budgets over the course of the last couple of weeks, not least of which, of course, Ontario's last Thursday, where they put in a lot of money with respect to making sure that some relief were given to citizens, and in their case, Ontario. So I would imagine the same will be with the federal budget. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to budgets because they're political documents, and governments want to be able to sort of send a message via the budget to show what their spending is going to be, what their priorities are going to be over the course of the next year. And obviously, given the fact that we've seen a lot of this inflation debate over the course of the last little while and cost of living, I'm not surprised that Minister Chrystia Freeland is going to be putting some focus on that. And I think it's going to be an important mix of what kind of relief she's going to be able to give in that budget, and also is there going to be any balancing the deficit or balancing the budget operations in there as well, because there's going to be some level of constraint and people will be watching to see if there's some relief that's going to be given to the spending that the government has had over the course of the number of years, obviously because of the pandemic.
But even pre-pandemic, restraint didn't seem to be in the government's vocabulary. You know, the Liberal government in particular, a lot of critics have said that they were pretty loose with the purse strings, as it were, of the country. But Chrystia Freeland, ahead of this, has been talking about restraint here. How do you bring in the balancing act of this, of bringing in restraint coming out of COVID recovery, but also a hyperinflationary or an inflationary period? This is not an easy task.
No, it's not, and it also deals with the philosophy and the ideologically of the government of the day. Obviously, the Liberals have had some past experiences in making sure that there's a lot of spend in their government and their budgets. And again, as we talked about, with the pandemic, there was obviously reason for them to be able to spend the money that they did over the course of the last little while. But now we're in a phase of post-pandemic recovery in some ways, which means that governments have to look towards, okay, so now that the pandemic's over, what are we going to do to ensure that we give some relief to Canadians while still making sure that we prop up the businesses that they need to be propped up over the course of the last little while. So that's a very tough balancing act. But I would imagine that this government, the Liberal government in Ottawa, is going to be looking at that balance, ensuring that they're getting hit by the opposition a lot on cost of living and doing enough to make sure that the cost of living of Canadians gets some relief. But yet, are they going to continue to keep spending? They made a big commitment while President Biden was in town over the course of the last couple of days with respect to defense. Is that going to be in the budget? They've got health deals that they made with all the provinces. We're going to see some of that in the budget as well. And then there's Dentacare, one of the main priorities that Jagmeet Singh has made with respect to the deal that he has, the supply confidence deal that he has with the Liberals, and he'll want to see the next phase of the Dentacare process program within the budget as well. And is there going to be any talk of pharmacare? So right. A lot of those kind of unanswered questions. And also last as well, Nick, the November economic statement that the Liberals gave, Chrystia Freeland gave, made some commitments on GST rebates with respect to hydrogen and clean technology investments. Is that going to be fulfilled in the budget? And also anything to do with the grocery rebates that the minister was talking about, is that going to be in the budget? I suspect it will, because she mentioned that it's going to be in there.
Yeah, lots to look for. We'll have to sort of wait and see when the budget is tabled tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, John Capobianco, political strategist, appreciate you helping us sort of set the table as we prepare for our coverage tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Nick. You as well.